There's so many people out there that just want to buy a budget gaming PC that's completely brand new. Maybe you're a kid that can't convince your parents to let you buy used parts, or maybe you're just a person that really values easy return processes and warranties and you just want to buy everything on Amazon and Newegg. Because of the GPU shortage, that feat has been virtually impossible to do for the last year or so, but that all has finally changed. I was able to pay less than $750 for this 100% brand new gaming PC, and the best part is that there's no crazy once-in-a-lifetime deals or anything. This is completely repeatable to do right now, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Let's have a look. Real quickly, I just wanted to remind you guys that today's build was indeed activated with Windows like all my other PC builds and flips, and I personally use GVG Mall, which is also the sponsor of today's video. Right now, they're actually increasing our normal 18% discount all the way up to 25% off, so you can get a legit Windows 10 activated version without that nasty watermark for a really cheap price. They also have other great products on other software like Office 2021 and even some game keys from platforms like Steam, Origin, and Uplay, and they even have console stuff too like PSN and Xbox prepaid cards as well. Activating that Windows 10 on your computer is super simple to do. The entire process of buying and activating takes like 5 minutes total, so make sure you click that first link down in the description and don't forget to use discount code ZTT18 for 25% off. Alright, so we're just gonna cut to the chase on this one because apparently it's still kind of controversial throughout our community, but budget gaming PCs that are brand new at this price point would not be possible at all without the recent launch of AMD's RX 6500 XT, specifically this Sapphire Pulse model, which I picked up on Newegg just a couple of days ago for $200. Now, you may have seen some Twitter beef between me and another YouTuber about this graphics card. We have very opposing opinions on the 6500 XT, but the fact is, I've never debated about all of the negatives of the 6500 XT. Nobody's debating them because they're very valid, but what a lot of people are failing to realize is that this card allows us to buy brand new budget gaming PCs like this one. I paid just $738 for this entire build, and since everything is brand new, this is completely unheard of in 2022, and I'm so happy to show this thing off to you guys. I don't need to spend any more time arguing about the 6500 XT. I'll let you do that with somebody else, but there's absolutely no denying that this is the single only gaming graphics card on the entire planet right now that you can buy brand new for $200, and honestly, I'm just thankful that we at least have the option. So with that being said, if you could quickly just look past what everyone else is saying about this graphics card and realize that at the end of the day, if you follow this budget gaming PC build guide, you'll have a really nice gaming PC that can actually put out some pretty good performance numbers while everyone else is complaining that they can't buy GPUs and gaming PC builds at prices from 2 years ago. And newsflash, by the way, that's never gonna happen.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
With that out of the way, if you want to find one of these 6500 XTs, specifically this Sapphire Pulse model, if you're building a red and black gaming PC out and about for around $200 or so, you probably won't be disappointed in its performance, but we'll run the benchmarks after talking about the rest of these parts. Pairing with our 6500 XT is this Intel i5 11400F, which I scooped up on Amazon for $167, and this CPU continues to deliver a ton of value at this budget price. Also, please remember that if you go down to the description and click the links to all these parts like right this very second, you're definitely going to see a tad bit difference in price compared to what I paid for it. They may be temporarily higher, but if you exercise some patience and actually buy your PC hardware whenever the prices go down a bit, which is what you should be doing already, then you'll be able to copy this build at the exact price that I did, or possibly even get it lower than what I did. And honestly, I would have rather gone with something even more budget for a build like this. Something like the i3-10105F would be a nice sweet spot as well, but because Intel's 10th generation CPUs don't support PCIe Gen 4, I had to go with 11th gen for this build. We all know that the 6500 XT bottlenecks itself in Gen 3 slots, so building around a Gen 4 CPU motherboard combo is definitely a good idea, especially when it only costs like $50 more for the build price. And speaking of which, next up we have the motherboard, and this is the Gigabyte B560 DS3H version 2, which I also picked up brand new on Amazon, and this cost me just $99. This DS3H lineup has never offered me specific features that I'm looking for, and it's definitely just a budget option, but for a B560 motherboard in today's market, it's a pretty solid price. Plugging into our motherboard, we have this XPG Z1 2x8GB kit of all black RAM that's clocked at 3200 MHz, and this was on Amazon as well for just $52. Keep in mind, you don't have to go with this specific model. It's super easy to find black RAM kits at less than $60 on places like Amazon and Newegg. And speaking of Amazon or Newegg, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but yeah, this is a 100% brand new build guide only. Just like normal, you can always beat the price to performance of a new build with a used one, especially especially if you found a good deal on a used GPU for $200, but this is for people that simply want to buy everything brand new and with a warranty. So next up we get to our SSD, and this here is the Crucial P5 500GB, and the same deal with the RAM. You can go with whichever NVMe SSD from a reputable brand for under $55 or $60 or so. I personally paid just $44 for this one brand new off Newegg, but there's a ton of options out there to choose from. Now probably the best deal of this entire build is once again the Superflower LED-X power supply. This one you probably won't be able to repeat, as I paid just $25 for this Tier B 80+ bronze fully modular unit. That's why I bought 10 of them on Newegg, and it's the reason you've been seeing so many of them in my build videos lately. Don't worry though, I only have 3 or 4 of them left, so once they're all out, I'm gonna have to find a different power supply to go with for these build guides. Moving along here though, we get to our case, and this here is the Apevia Prodigy, and it's finally returned to the channel. Several months ago, I was using these all day because of how much value it brings, and honestly, it continues to be one of the best micro ATX case options on the market right now. And it's actually kind of sad too, because at least once a month, I'm typing in Amazon or Newegg micro ATX case, and there just continues to be nothing else that can really compete with it in terms of value. For just $70 consistently on Amazon, you're getting 3 pre-installed RGB fans, a nice airflow design front panel, a PSU cutout for some vinyl action like how I did here, and it's just a simple and clean build design, and it's perfect for most builds. Finally, for some aesthetic only options, first up we have the extensions, of course, and you know I had to go with the tried and tested Asia Horse Pure Red extensions, and you can always find these on Amazon for around 26 bucks. For our CPU cooler, I decided to just go with an all black Aries game cooler, which I've actually never used before. I've actually used the RGB version before, which is probably just the same thing, but I didn't want to add a different type of RGB fan into this entire build, and I actually just like this sleek, minimal, and clean design that this gives off with the rest of the build. All in all, this is what the final parts list is looking like, and again, for less than $750 brand new on Amazon and Newegg, this is pretty much the first time in the last year, or maybe even more, that we've been able to do this. We're about to see in the benchmarking section just how much performance $750 can get you, but honestly, so far we're already off to a really great start in terms of aesthetics. Just remember, go back to the visualization about how you're not worrying about what all the elitists on the internet are saying about this GPU. At the end of the day, you're about to have a budget gaming PC that can actually get some pretty solid FPS numbers. And speaking of which, today we'll start with Forza Horizon 5, and when using the built-in benchmarking tool in 1080p, we got a pretty impressive 74 FPS. Rainbow Six Siege followed up after that, and while using the built-in benchmarking tool in 1080p in high settings, we got 167 FPS. Next up was Apex Legends. No benchmarking tool for this one, so we gotta rely on Sam's headshotting skills here, but in 1080p with medium settings, we got 127 FPS. Valorant tailed after that, and with 1080p in high settings, we got a 187 average FPS. Call of Duty Vanguard followed up next, and this one definitely pushes that 6500 XT, but again, we got some pretty good results here with 107 FPS in 1080p and medium settings. The good old Fortnite was up after that, and in 1080p with our typical pro settings, we got 157 FPS, but did get a little bit of stuttering, but nothing to write home about, I don't think. Getting towards the end here, we have Grand Theft Auto 5, because thousands and thousands of people are still playing this one. Let me know what I'm missing down in the comment section, but in 1080p with high settings, we got just under 100 with 98 FPS. And for the last gaming benchmark that we have footage for, we have CSGO, just to see what the 11400F can truly do, and in 1080p with pro settings, we got a whopping 293 FPS. And just like always, we'll run a 3D Mark time spy run, and this build did a little bit better than I thought, honestly, with a score of 5,170. And also, just like normal, our benchmarking god Sam tested 10 more titles for you all, and here are the results for those. As you can see, most of these titles, despite being the harder to run AAA titles, they're almost all sitting around 1080p medium and high, and dare I say that this is actually still a solid build for $750 despite the controversial GPU. And real quickly for temperatures inside this Apevia Prodigy, while testing, Sam said the GPU only ever maxed out to around 65 degrees Celsius, and our CPU stayed even cooler, only ever maxing out at around 55. And if you want to see my full video about the 6500 XT, if you're still considering it, then feel free to click the video that's on the screen now. But just like always, I hope you enjoyed this video.